I'm Elisa Bokeen, and we are two brown chicks changing the face of therapy on both
Both
sides
sides of the
of the
couch.
couch. Woo!
You love to sing the
It's
song.
almost over.
The year is about to be done. We made it through 2020.
Yes.
It's so funny because it feels like the longest and shortest year at the same time. Like I feel like it was so much happening, but then it like went. It kept going, even though we
It
were
was
sitting around doing.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, even though it wasn't a lot going on for the whole first half, it feels like so.
Nothing going, there was so much going on, but we had to like sit with it.
We had to
And
sit.
we couldn't run from it. We couldn't like have
Exactly.
other stuff. So yes, yes, I get it.
We could
It's
not distract
fine.
ourselves like we normally would.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank y'all for rocking with us this whole year. So this episode is going to be about like what we took from 2020 that we're going to make sure that's going to influence how we move into 2021, right? I think about like resolutions and all that kind of stuff, and it's like this was not the year for resolutions like this. I mean, which some things did work out, right?
Yeah.
Some things we talked about that last week, like talking about gratitude and things that did happen that were good. But if you had like specific goals, like if you were very specific, it may not have worked out for you. It just
Yeah.
this year
That's
was.
why I just don't even set resolutions anymore. I think I said this last year. I set intentions, and my intention this year was alignment. That was my word for the year. And as strange as it's been, I do feel like I'm more in alignment than I was prior. So I guess that ended up working out. But yeah, I don't do, I just I don't do resolutions because I feel like I've never stuck to them. So
Yeah, I definitely think it's you have to be mindful of like if you set the same resolutions every year, you might want to switch it up. You might want to like try something different. And so I do like the idea of doing intentions and like what do you want? Focusing more on like internal energy, like what do you want for the year as a not specific goals, but just like I want to feel more discipline or things like that, as opposed to being like I want to lose 20 pounds, like
right.
you know
Yeah, I see it as like what's going to help me inform whatever decisions I make, what's going to help me inform the goals that I set. Is, I set out, I wanted to be in alignment um, with all the different areas of my life. So, and
mm-hmm.
I think the thing about that is I may not fully achieve it, but I think I'm closer to it now than I was at the beginning of the year. Um, and I think a big part of that is because alignment is really also about letting go. So
Yeah,
I guess you could kind of like segue into
right.
what we took away, right? So for me, this year taught me personally what I took away was that I've never really been in control, even though I have convinced myself that if I do enough things, I will be and feel like I'm more in control. I've mentioned this before. I didn't ever think of myself as a controlling person. My family will probably say otherwise. I know better than my family.
Right.
I'm gonna guide them. Um, and so I think this year in particular taught me that I've never really been in control when you are forced to let go of the life that you know. And like we said earlier, just sit there. Just sit there and you have to wait and really be forced to reevaluate your life, and you had no other choice other than to go in the way that you were being redirected. Like we couldn't fight that. And so I think that is a big part of alignment, is in letting go of maybe what I think I should be doing and the way that I think it should be. And killing me this day. The people that are listening, they can't see all the yawning and
All right, yeah. I'm yawning so much. If you're watching, I apologize. I am tired. My voice sounds different. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yes. But yeah, that's the thing about alignment, right? Like it forces you to let go, it forces you to flow, it forces you to go with what is where you're supposed to be. And so
Right.
I think that was it. And so I think my intention for 2021 really is, again, I don't know that I would say alignment 2.0.
Just add on to it. Just keep going.
I don't know. It's interesting because I think it's hard to say after going through 2020. It's almost like, how dare you even think of
What else?
plans?
Yeah. No, yeah, I get that.
You know, and again, like we've kind of talked about before, like this stuff that we've been going through, the pandemic, just everything we've gone through, it's not expiring on December 31st, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I just want to continue to build and grow on being really intentional about being present in my life and just remembering like the fact that we have gotten through this year. I really feel like it's nothing short of a miracle that we have gotten through this year. And so I can't even think of what the word would be for how I intend to be. Like if I had to condense all of that, like alignment, gratitude,
Yeah.
flow, presence, all of that, maybe mindfulness. Okay, there's my word.
That's the word.
Intention for 2021 is mindfulness and non-judgment. Non-judgment in the sense that I want to show up for life as it presents itself without my judgment of whether I think this is what should be happening or not in my personal life, and just being able to respond from where I'm at, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this year was a lot of, which is funny because I feel like I was already kind of moving into that space and this year just forced it to happen. But it was a lot of like, be still. Like, don't feel like you have to do so much. I feel like the last 5 years, I don't know. I always have something, right? I'm always like, I have a business, or I'm doing a podcast, or I'm doing that. Like I always had a lot going on. I'm gonna write 20 blogs, or I'm, like just a lot. And then this year was kind of like, you don't need to do all of that. And I think at the beginning of the pandemic, I tried to like do a lot of things, and then it was like, okay, but this is hard, and you're more stressed than what's actually happening as far as like marketing for your business. Like if y'all follow me on social media, y'all see I don't post. Like I just don't do as much. I do want to do more, but I also recognize that it's the reason why I was doing it wasn't necessary. Like I felt like I need to do all these things to build my business. And it's like, you don't. Like just make sure that you're doing what you need to do as far as like connecting with the people that, are your ideal clients or whatever the case may be. Make sure you do that. But outside of that, like I really don't have to do all the things. So I really slowed down this year, literally between this Melanin mental health, like our podcast and our business, and then my private practice. I was like, I had a whole other business that I was working on that I've kind of like paused for a second. So I definitely want to make sure that I recognize that next year, as far as like, I don't need to do everything. I don't need to be doing all the things. I can kind of be still. That's it. Be still. But with that, I still do want to work on, which has been my like intention for the past 2 years. I want to continue to work on my discipline, because I do feel like I struggle with discipline and consistency. You talking about my words because they're not coming out right?
No, so I have on lipstick, but I also have this enhancement. So
oh yeah. When I drink my water.
You're gonna have to watch this video.
Right. If you're just listening, you should watch the video, because we have a lot happening right now.
Clearly it's Monday, and clearly the year's already over.
Right. Zoom has makeup features that we are taking advantage of, and it's funny. But yeah, so discipline and consistency, and so the issue was, before, I feel like the issue with it was I was doing 20 things, trying to be disciplined at 20 things and be consistent with 20 things. And now I've kind of reined myself back, and I've been able to figure out like I don't have to do all the things. I can kind of be still and actually like let things that are meant for me come to me as opposed to me chasing it. Right. And
Yeah.
I think about that, of
Look
course,
at
straight to
you.
relationships, because I'm thinking about like my clients, and I'm like, stop trying to force it to happen. Like, just let it happen, you know?
I love
Um, yeah, so that's more of what I'm focused on, is like, yes, have discipline with the things that are working for you, or have discipline for the things that you want, but also don't force anything. Like, whatever's supposed to happen will happen. So that's probably the biggest thing I take away from 2020, and what I'm trying to take into 21 as well. 2021.
I love it. I feel like this is also Ebony 2.0, maybe 5.0.
5.0.
Grade from like even when we first started Melanin and Mental Health, right? And I remember like you and I having the conversation about practicing receiving, because you know, if y'all been listening to us, you know that I'm more of the woo woo over here. Love it. I'm grounded and woo woo. But you know, we would have these conversations about learning to receive and what we're putting our energy into. So everything you talk about right now is stuff that I've seen you
Yeah.
working on and practicing. So I love it. And I think that goes in line with what I was talking about earlier with the alignment, right? Like, so when being in an alignment, that the things that you're supposed to be doing, you are doing,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I think that was hard for so many of us this year in particular, because of how we're programmed, because of how we're conditioned in particular in this hustle culture, in this grind
Yeah.
culture, to where it's like we were so used to going that it felt so foreign not to go. And I think, you know, like I talked about last week, I think for me, I was exhausted. So the opportunity to just rest, I was like, bring it. You know,
Yeah.
like, let me be home. Let me um start a garden. Things that I had always wanted to do, you
Yeah.
know. And I was like, let me be in my backyard. Let me, you know, be home with my kids. Like all these things that I had been wanting to do that I couldn't, that I felt, I should say, that I felt I couldn't do. Like I was able to do that this year. Along with again, that's not to sugarcoat 2020, right? It's not to sugarcoat it. It's been a hell of a year. um, okay, so as we were saying, we have to take a little bit
A little break.
break.
A little break.
A
We're
little
back.
water
We're back.
break.
Okay.
I cannot. So as I was saying, moving into 2021, being more conscious, being more aware, and again, if we are still here, it is for a reason. And so how can we take what it is that 2020 was here to personally teach you, and the collective, so that when we move into 2021, because this too shall pass. It's going
Yeah.
to pass. I don't know when, but it will
Eventually.
pass. It will eventually pass. And how will we take what we have learned? And I think it's still settled. It's going to take some time for all of these lessons to settle in. But that is how I'm moving into 2021. And I'm not gonna say anything other than that because 2020 was supposed to be my year. So,
Right.
anyways, what about you, Ebony?
Exactly what you're saying. Like, it has to be more of. I think if anything, it's we have to go with what we're given, right? So we can't make all these grand plans.
Right.
Excuse me. And you can set your intentions. You can definitely say like, this is what I would want for the next year, but also I need to know how to pivot. I need to know how to go with the flow. I need to know how to like deal with life as it comes, because that's what we had to do this year. So hopefully that's one of the things that you kind of learned from this past year, is how to go with it as it comes, because you can't control everything. So
There you have
yeah,
it.
that's it. Thank you
Oh,
guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You watched, you had a show. This is our last show for the year, which we, are excited to come back next year. We're going to take a little bit of a break. And so we appreciate everyone who listens and watches. Make sure you follow us across social media at Melanin Mental Health. Follow us on Twitter on Melanin Health. And check out melaninmentalhealth.com to see all the dope therapists that are there, to find the previous podcast, and to find our dope merchandise. You can't really see my shirt because I'm washed out, but it says Melanated Health. I will tag it in the episode. And we hope to talk to y'all next time. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See y'all in 2021.
Yes.